Text is a crucial component in our designs and can be used to communicate information or encourage action. The styling choices we make can also support visual hierarchy, convey the appropriate tone, and even make or break the accessibility of a design. In Figma Design, we create text layers using the Text tool. You can find type-specific properties in the typography section of the right sidebar. Choose from a selection of free Google fonts or browse through fonts installed on your computer. You can hover over a font name to preview the font with your current text selection. You can also adjust other type properties such as size and weight, as well as formatting like line height and alignment. If you open Type Settings, you'll find even more properties to get the styling of your text just right, such as list styles, paragraph spacing, and letter casing, to name a few. The properties you'll see here will vary by font. Some fonts come with extra features that give you even more control. Hover over a setting to preview it. In addition to type properties, you can also apply other properties to text layers, such as fills, strokes, and effects. Let's create a text layer to add a greeting to our hero. Select the Text tool from the toolbar or press T on your keyboard. Click on the canvas below the avatar and type your name. Notice how the layer name reflects the string of text on the canvas even when we change the string. It'll continue to do this until we give the layer a new name. Now let's create a second text layer to describe our interests and recent work history. Select the Text tool again, and click and drag to create a text box below the other layers. Make sure this is larger than the first text layer so it has enough space to fit our content. Don't worry about its exact size, we'll refine that later. As we type, you'll notice the text content stays contained in the text box and wraps to the next line instead of flowing off to the side. Why is this different from the previous text layer we created? Text layers have a resizing property that determines how the layer's dimensions, indicated by the bounding box, will respond when we change its contents. This property is set automatically based on how we created the text layer, but we can update this setting at any time in the Layout section of the right sidebar. If we click and drag to create a text layer, Figma assumes we want the text layer to be those exact dimensions and sets the resizing to fixed size. This means the width and height of the text layer will stay the same no matter how much text content there is. If we click on the canvas to create a text layer, the resizing property is set to auto width. This allows the text layer to grow horizontally to accommodate any new text we add. Auto height allows just the height of the text layer to grow and shrink depending on its contents. If we add more content, our text will automatically wrap to the next line, increasing the height of the text layer. If we remove the text, the height decreases to match. If we change the width of the text layer, the height and wrapping of our lines will automatically reflow. The text resizing property can also change when we interact with the text layer's bounding box. For example, let's say a text layer is set to auto width, where the bounding box accommodates the text content widthwise. If we drag the left or right edge of the bounding box, the text resizing property will change to auto height. This is because when we resize the width, Figma assumes we want the width of the layer to be fixed, but for the height to continue accommodating the text content. If we drag the corners of the bounding box, the text resizing will update to fixed size. Now if we try to resize the left and right edges again, it will stay fixed size. For all the designers watching, we know our layers are looking a bit misaligned right now, so let's fix that. Click any blank area to deselect all layers. Then, click and drag the cursor over the layers to select them. In the right sidebar, click Align Left to align their leftmost edges. That's better. Let's move on to styling our text. Right now, the text is a bit small, so we should make everything bigger and easier to read. We also want to create some visual hierarchy to draw attention to a few key areas. Select the layer with your name and go to the typography section in the right sidebar. The first dropdown shows that we're using Inter as our font. We'll stick to Inter, but feel free to pause the video and explore the other available fonts. Then join us when you're ready to move on. We want to add more weight or thickness to the font. Click on the current style and select a bolder choice, like this black one for Inter. Then, open the font size dropdown and change it to 40. Since our name is overlapping with our statement, let's use Big Nudge to reposition it. You can reposition layers by nudging them with the arrow keys on your keyboard. There are two nudge types in Figma. Small nudge uses arrow keys to reposition layers and moves layers in increments of 1 by default. Big nudge uses shift with arrow keys and moves layers in increments of 10 by default. Nudge settings come in handy when you want to reposition objects with more precision than clicking and dragging with your cursor. You may find yourself wanting a different nudge amount, especially if you're working with a specific grid system, like an 8-pixel grid system where nudging in increments of 8 would be more useful. To customize your nudge settings, open the Figma menu from any design file, then go to Preferences and click Nudge Amount. Enter your desired small nudge and big nudge values in the fields provided. Then close to apply. Now let's update the font weight to medium and the font size to 28. Our text is bleeding over the bottom edge of the bounding box because the text resizing is set to fixed size. Let's change it to auto height. All of our text is now wrapped within the text layer's bounds, and the text layer will grow and shrink vertically if we change the contents. Then we can draw focus to career highlights by updating the weight to bold. We can do this by clicking and dragging to select specific text, then updating its styling. Lastly, give the lines of text some breathing room so they're easier to read. Make sure they're not too far apart, as that will also make it less readable. So we'll set the line height to 38. We'll also set the paragraph spacing to 16. In the final design, this text layer will be much wider than it is right now. As mentioned, we'll refine this in a later lesson, but if you'd like, we can resize the text layer to make it wider. Just be sure that the text resizing property is still set to auto height before moving on. Now that the basic elements of our hero are done, we need a way to keep them together. So let's place them into a frame.